Hey guys, welcome back to Tea with the Supreme Spotlight Sunday. I am Cass. I'm here with Jules, Savannah, and Eb. Say hello, ladies.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
You see how Savannah just tried to get in on me? Hello,
Uh-huh.
ladies.
So, in light of, and I wanted to talk about something that's kind of a hot topic right now, so to say, and especially in the state of Texas. So, in Texas, there was a child abuse investigation over her teen's gender affirming care. And now this mother is suing the state of Texas for malpractice. So the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services has already started investigating parents of children receiving gender affirming care for child abuse. So Governor Greg Abbott instructed the agency to begin such investigation via letter on February 22nd, which they used as a tactic to scare parents into not giving their child the care that they believe that they need. So within days, at least one investigation began against a DFPS employee who is the mother of a 16-year-old transgender child, which, for the sake of the article, she was identified as Mary Doe. So the suit was filed back in February, yes, on February 25th. And there really hasn't been any comments on it from the state. They're kind of just letting it be. Megan Mooney, a clinical psychologist who treats a lot of transgender patients, who is a mandated reporter of child abuse under Texas law, is listed on that lawsuit. And the complaint states that she has been put in an impossible situation because not reporting parents who seek gender affirming care for their children could lead to her own civil and criminal penalties. But if she does report them, the complaint adds she would violate professional standards of ethics and cause harm and trauma to her patients. So this counselor it's a double-edged sword. So I'm curious, the question I am asking is gender affirming care, yay or nay?
I say absolutely. I don't think it's anybody else's business. It's the same. I feel like it's the same way with sexual orientation or whatever. Like if what the individual is doing doesn't hurt someone, like do you? And to penalize okay, it's very rare. I don't want to say it's rare. That's a generalization. It's more common for parents of non-binary or trans youth or children who are struggling with their gender identity, any sort of fluidity, for their parents not to approve or to be very, very hard on them. That's why there's a lot of youth that run away. There's a lot of violence against or child abuse against children who don't identify a certain way, as well as why the suicide rates are so high. So to penalize parents that are already in the minority population that are supporting their kids and they're my kids, I'm going to love them regardless, I'm going to support them whatever they need, and then to try to penalize them and the child, that's nonsense. It's just straight nonsense. It makes no sense.
What is
Okay,
their
give me
logic
some.
behind this? What are they trying to solve by?
Right, give me some clarification on this. What are you saying to me, Cass? What's the question?
Gender affirming care, yay or nay? Do you think it should be implemented, or do you think that should be something that should be done when the person has turned 18 and is able to make their own decision?
Okay, I interrupted you, Savannah. Would you like to go ahead before I say
It's
whatever it is
okay.
I'm
No, I
getting
just
ready to
mean
say?
what's the logic behind punishing parents and children who are being affirmed in their?
Well, their argument is that it's child abuse, because their argument is there's a specific belief system that if you are unclear or you believe that you are not the gender that the doctors assigned you at birth, that is a mental illness or some sort of condition that it needs to be corrected. And if your parents support your misthoughts then your parents are horrible and they are just abusing you as a child by supporting you in whatever these nonsense thoughts are.
What
That
do
I
you feel like-
disagree with wholeheartedly,
yeah.
but that's the
But what do you
mentality
think
behind it.
has the mental condition? Like,
Mhm.
no, I mean, to an extent, every parent has a right to raise their child the way they desire, but the detrimental effects to not accept and be supportive of who your child desires to be, like, that child's gonna grow up developing a mental disorder. They don't already have one, they're gonna develop one, and they need to realize that it's not okay to just brush it under the rug. Like, they're gonna be who they're gonna be, and
There's so many contributing factors as well. Like I've learned a lot about this in the recent past. It's definitely not something that I was well versed in. But one of those things is that so people who are intersex, which means they have biology for both genders. The statistics for intersex individuals are higher than the statistics for people born with cleft palates. It is pretty significant. And there have been many instances where the doctor will view the child at birth and whatever is the predominant presenting physical genitalia, they'll say, oh, that's what you are. That's not based on blood. That's not based on whatever. And this child could still be very much intersex, but because their physical presentation is one way or the other, that's the way that they're raised. Well, when puberty and things hit and their biology really, the hormones start to take effect, it could have been wrong. But because that decision was made in the moment that they were born, this is what you are, they were put down an incorrect path in the first place, that they had to struggle with their identity. Then if they try to identify as the identity that is really predominant biologically, physiologically for them, then they are treated in some sort of negative light that way. So they're in a lose-lose situation. There's no possibility to win in that scenario. So there's a lot that goes into it. And also, I don't think it's anybody else's business but your own.
So in that instance, it's not the doctor, it's the parent who makes the decision at whatever is presenting. And the parent makes the ultimate decision as to whether or not they identify or they then are determined as male or female. But for me, I don't think any of that is the issue. So for the most part, I am a liberal conservative. How about that? That's a nice way to say it. And I think that this is a slippery slope because I am adamant about whether I agree with your rights or not, they're your rights to have. So you have the right. My front door is open as I'm recording this, and I'm looking at my neighbor who has 2 massive Confederate flags flying like massively high. And there's some other flags there that are not worth mentioning, right? I don't agree with those. But the same way it's my right to fly some other flags that are in my yard, there is their right to do it. The moment government steps in to say, this is the way you have to do A, B, C, and D, then you open the door for government to say, wherever my belief and my value system is, now you have the right to affect that belief and interject what you believe there to be true or not true. Personally, I don't believe that some things should happen in childhood. And we've had this conversation before, and I've personally taken it upon myself to dig into a world and a lifestyle I knew nothing of. We've talked about it with the transgender population, and different parts of the LGBTQ plus QAA, all the acronyms, letters that go in that acronym as they change, I think, daily at this point. I don't have to agree with your lifestyle, right? I think your lifestyle and how you choose to raise your children is a personal choice. Because the moment you step into my home and you try to tell me how to raise mine, it's a problem for me. So I'm not going to overstep my bounds to tell you how to raise yours. Now, as the mental health professional, I guess that's a fine line to walk, because you being us, you can see the end result of the not affirming someone, not validating someone. Those are the adults that are unprocessed and full of trauma that come sit in our space. I think you have the right to not, I don't want to say that you do harm to your children, but if you choose not to do something, right? You choose not to, that's your choice. I don't see this happening when you talk about people that are abusing their children, and you're not forcing anyone to come in and give them counseling and do things. I mean, if they get into the system, then yeah, you may offer those things, but if you're not going to do this in every area of it, I think it's a slippery slope that opens up for a lot more freedom of liberties, or removal of freedoms rather, and liberties, than it is a benefit. And I don't think that it should be based on one's personal beliefs. I personally live my life, my morality, those things come from my faith and how I view what God has said to me. However, I don't get to hold you to that standard, and that's not a popular belief. I believe that should be your standard, but I don't hold you to that standard, or hold you to my level of morality, or hold you to my choice, because that's not your belief system. So I can't, determine how you live and do, because if I then start to determine that way, then in turn, when it flips and you're ready to determine how I live mine, then I have to be open to hear that as well. And I don't want to be open to hear that. Let's just be honest.
I just also want to clarify what gender affirming care means, because you can affirm someone's gender without them getting hormone therapy or them getting any sort of surgery or anything like that. It's literally you're affirming however they identify. So even if it's like, I'm not saying young children should all get surgery. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that if they identify different than everyone else identifies them, and that's what makes them feel the way that they feel, like that shouldn't be a child abuse issue. I don't understand. Support your kids wherever they are. That's
See,
never
but I think
child
that's a
abuse.
generalization, because as in my role of parenting, I don't have to affirm my kids. I do not. If I don't believe in this, or this, I don't have to. Should I?
That's true.
Sure.
You don't have
But
to.
I
But
don't.
either way, though, it's not child abuse, is what I'm saying. That for it to be
I
construed as
agree.
child abuse is not, and to also try to mandate people to say that you're abusing your children, that's not child abuse.
I think there are too many factors that influence this, because, and I mean, statistics go, you can support yourself with statistics any way you want to, but I think there are so many other contributing factors, if this is the case and this is the case. And, even when we started and we were studying and I was really delving into this transgender lifestyle, and I keep going back to that because it was something that was foreign to me. So because I was completely naive about it, I dug into it and started research, which sent me down a spiral. But I struggled. And I remember saying to the Supremes, on one of the case scenarios, there was a kid who was like 2, 3, and it took a minute, and her parents affirmed, and they went through whatever. I personally believe at 2, that's just my belief as a parent, you don't know what you want to be. And other people have said, hey, I knew when I was 3, I knew when I was 4. That's fine. But at 2, I don't think any child, at 3, at 4, at 5, I don't think any child should be making a 100% determination because you haven't experienced anything and you haven't lived. And that's my personal opinion, but that's my right as a parent. So when you start to do things like this and you're saying, I could understand where you could say gender affirming could be child abuse, because when you're starting, there's no age limit on this. And so, I mean, and not to be
I want to
disagree.
just verbally disagree. I disagree
Of
wholeheartedly.
course you can. But if you're saying this for a child that's 10 and a child that's 16, that means the child that's 2, that's the same thing. There's no, you can't put limitations once you start to make laws like this. So the same way that it could be a positive something, for me, the same way anybody else can be influenced, it could be a negative something. I don't think any kid should have to decisions are finalized at 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like I don't see it. That's just me and what my parenting experience has been for the difference of life for kids at 2 versus 21 or 12 or 15 or whatever the case may be. So just on the legality side of it, I think this is a real slippery slope to go down.
So if you or someone you know is struggling, there is a hotline. So 1-800-273-8255, that is to the Trevor Project. You can also go to thetrevorproject.com for confidential care. They also have this really cool new feature. I think is if you tap 3 times, it automatically closes the browser and it clears your history from viewing that website. And if you or anybody you know who is transgender or LGBTQIA plus is in a dire situation, please call 911. The individual's safety is at the utmost importance, and we want to make sure that you guys are getting the help that you need. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. No Sunday scaries around here, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Be out.